Hey YouTubers, this is Olga, and today I want to talk about something that's not the easiest topic for me, to be honest, but I feel like, if this is going to be helpful to someone else, even if it's just going to help like literally one person, then it's going to be all worth it to me. So hopefully this will be of use to some of you that are either going through a similar issue as I am, or some kind of a health issue that's really tough for you. Okay, so I've had ulcerative colitis for at least a decade now. I mean, I was officially diagnosed in, I think it was 2008 or 2009, but I've had digestive issues like for most of my life before that. And so, yeah, this was both like a shock and not really a shock, because also my dad has had ulcerative colitis when he was around my age. So I don't know. And by the way, he does not have it now, and I can like officially say this, even though a lot of people are gonna hate on it and just be like, he's not healed, he's in remission. But he's done. Well, and sorry for like TMI, but his colonoscopy shows that he literally has, like, everything is just perfect. Knock on wood. With his intestines. So to me, that's like, I feel like that should be considered being healed, and like, why not? If you want to say that you're healed and you're cured, all the power to you. Like, why wouldn't you be able to say that? So I don't know, like, for people who just don't agree with that, that's your opinion, whatever floats your boat. But to me, I think it's awesome to like feel like you're completely healed and everything's great and you don't have to worry about it anymore, which is the case with my dad, at least. So in this video, I didn't really want to go like into the whole ulcerative colitis experience and just like tell you like everything that I've gone through and like all the things that I've tried, blah blah blah. Like, I think that should be a whole different video, like by itself, and maybe I'll make one of those too. I haven't decided yet. But this one I just wanted to dedicate to some of the, like, I guess, to look on a more positive side of the disease and talk about some of the things that I've learned as a result of this crazy issue. So just to give you a very, very basic information about ulcerative colitis, it's an autoimmune digestive disorder, so it impacts your intestines, and there's a lot of inflammation going on in the body. And I guess it can be different for different people in terms of symptoms, but some of the most common symptoms are usually like bloating, a lot of pain in the stomach area. And for me personally, it involved like constant running to the bathroom. So that's one of the reasons why like this is not my favorite topic. It's just because I feel like it's one of those like silent diseases in terms of like being embarrassing and awkward enough. And then like when people start asking you questions, you're just kind of like, oh my God, like, can you just not just Google it? Just don't ask me, because it's like so awkward. And plus, like, I don't know, I feel like for women even more so, because we're not supposed to ever like go to the bathroom or do anything like that, God forbid. So I don't know, like, for me, basically that was my biggest issue, because like literally my body was not absorbing food. It would just like go right through me. I was so miserable. I was so like, just for most of it. And I always felt like, it basically kind of goes like through remissions and flare-ups. But for me, I feel like it was all like one huge flare-up for like years and years. And basically, like, some things, like sometimes like the pills would help, like mesalamine pills that the doctor prescribed. But then eventually my body got used to them, like built its tolerance, and like they weren't working anymore. So like realistically, it's been like a really messed up, like crazy journey with a lot of sadness and struggles and disappointments. And well, just to kind of like fast forward to now, thankfully I'm doing like infinitely better now, thank God. And I'm actually like medicine free, but at the same time I'm taking a supplement which like I hesitate to recommend because I have no idea how it's gonna, if it's gonna benefit anybody, but it really works for me personally, at least for the past like few months that I've been taking it. And it's called Cooling, and I'll just put the name like in the bottom of the video in the description box. So, but that's like the only thing really that I'm taking right now in terms of like managing my disease. And I don't even want to call it disease anymore. I feel like I'm just making it worse by saying that it's a disease. I don't know. But not that I'm in denial. Like, honestly, I've gone through that stage, believe me. For the first couple of years, I was like, what? No, this is just a temporary, like, something. It's not a disease. But now I feel like, honestly, thank God I'm doing so much better. Like, this is why I can actually, like, record a video without running to the bathroom 50 times and actually feel like I can share this with you, because I'm legitimately like feeling so much better and healthier, and I feel like I finally have like something good to share versus just me like sharing my struggles and just feeling like shit, Anyways, so going into what I want to talk about, what it has taught me. And the reason I want to talk about it is that, like, I just know that for myself, when you're so sick that you can't really function in the world anymore, I don't know, you just kind of like tend to lose hope and feel like you're doomed forever, and you don't even know like why you're living anymore. Like, what's the point of this whole life, like if you can't really function, like a normal human being. So this is kind of just to give you hope that things can definitely get better, and it does take some time and a lot of perseverance and patience and stuff like that, but it can get better. And that's basically like what I want you to know. So, okay, without further ado, because I know I'm just gonna go off on a tangent right now and talk for another like half an hour about something or other. So, okay, number one, what it has taught me. It's taught me to question medical doctors, and to seek out my own personal way towards healing. Because when I first got diagnosed, I was kind of, like obviously, like I didn't know almost anything about this disease other than what I found like on Wikipedia. And I thought that, of course, and like pretty much anywhere you will look, like on all of the official resources, it'll tell you that food is not a big factor in this, and so will the doctors. So basically, like every doctor that I've gone to see was like, oh no, it's an autoimmune disorder. Like, this is where your immune system attacks itself for like no reason, right? Like no reason whatsoever. Just randomly just starts attacking itself, and food has nothing to do with it. No, why would it? I mean, you only put it into your intestine, your stomach and then your intestines. So how food, intestines? No, like that couldn't possibly have anything to do with it. So I really like bought into it at first, because obviously we're taught to believe in doctors. And I mean, I do, no disrespect to doctors, like most of them they can be pretty cool at least, but I've been just so like sorely disappointed. And I feel like most people that I know that have had like serious issues, health issues, they feel pretty much the same way, because it's kind of ridiculous. Like in terms of surgery, there's been some like truly amazing like advances in technology, and like, I mean, wow, it's really something that is, that makes me feel proud that we have in our world today. But like, especially like emergency surgery or something like this, or like a situation where a person is going through something like crazy, like sepsis, and they need like antibiotics like fast right now, and it's going to be tremendously useful and helpful. But when it comes to chronic diseases, I feel like it's like the whole healthcare situation, just all of it is just kind of bullshit, to be honest. That's just, again, that's my personal opinion. That's my experience. This is what I've been dealing with for like at least 10 years. And, I have a right to say how I feel, right? Okay. And you have a right to disagree, of course. So, yeah. So it just basically made me question the authority of doctors and how, not even how much they know, but like how open-minded are they? Like, I understand that they know a lot. Of course, they went to med school for like ever, and good for them. I think that's amazing, and hopefully they went to do this in order to help others, okay, like get better and heal. But if that's really your goal versus like making a lot of money, then please like be more open-minded. Like, listen to what your patients say, especially patients who are getting better, and not because of the drugs that you've prescribed, but because of like other things. Like, it could literally be anything. It could be I don't know, like it could be because they're eating differently and healthier foods. It could be because they went to like a shaman. I don't know. It could be anything, right? But like, as long as it helps somebody, like, at least be open-minded enough to listen to that and consider, and maybe recommend to somebody else that you feel could benefit from it. Especially people who are more like into spirituality and they're more open-minded to things like that. And, like, it could really help them because they like literally don't know any better. You just come to the doctor, they like prescribe it, whatever it is, and you're just like, okay, well, I guess that's it. Because for me, like at the beginning, I remember that I was like, okay, well, here's my pills. Like, I'm just gonna keep taking them for however long. I didn't even realize that this is like possibly a lifelong disease, right? Like, I guess like I really was in denial because I just thought that, okay, like I'll just take the pills, they're gonna help me, and then I'll stop the pills and just continue to live my normal life, right? And like, that's really not how it went down. So anyway, so that's number one. Number two, it really made me dive into spirituality. The whole, like, I mean, I always was kind of interested in stuff like that, and I feel like it all started for me with Wayne Dyer, Eckhart Tolle, just like those people that obviously like most people know about in spiritual realms. And it's all about like the power of intention and like living in the moment. But I just never really got deeper for me than that. So, but with this disease, I was like, like, why is this happening to me? What can I do? Like, I mean, it really made me question everything in my life, and especially, my worldviews, and just even critical thinking, like how, like, what am I supposed to do now? That's it. I feel like I'm kind of on my own because the doctors are not helping, like nothing really is helping. So I have to figure this out. So I started meditating more. I started just researching like a ton and reading and like, researching all the therapies out there, like whether it's a nutritional, like holistic therapy, or like sound healing, something like, hypnosis, past life regressions. I mean, you name it. Like, I seriously, I like really spent years learning about all the stuff that I could possibly try. And I've tried a ton of stuff just to see like if it would help. And I'm sure like a lot of you who are going through something like this can relate, because when you're so desperate to heal, like you literally try anything. So to me, it got to the point where I even got, like, and I probably should like make a separate video just about that, but I ended up at some point, like this is after me like trying the vegan diet, just juicing for a couple of weeks, like literally just juicing. And then eventually I started to try dry fasting, right? And dry fasting, for those of you who are not familiar, because I don't know like how legal it is in the US actually, because when I was trying this stuff, I was living in Russia for a couple of years. I'm originally from Russia, but then I came back for a couple of years, so long story. Anyway, so I tried dry fasting, which is basically no food and no water. It was insane. Like, I do not recommend this, by the way, to anybody unless you have like a specialist watching you and like getting your vitals every single day and just telling you like, hey, like maybe you should stop today. Because when I started it, well, it was kind of a gradual process, obviously. Like, it didn't just randomly happen. I was like researching it for months, and then I tried like no drinking, not drinking and not eating for like 1 day, and then 2 days, and then like the most I did was, I think it was like 2.5 days at that point. But then when I went to this retreat, which I hesitate to even like really call a retreat because it was just a really, really shitty old building, like in a city in Russia. Anyway, so when I went there, we were supposed to do dry fasting for like 12 days, I think, 10 or 12 days, which is already crazy. I know. But so I basically went there for 2 weeks, okay? And out of those 2 weeks, I managed to not eat or drink for 7 days, which is crazy, right? Because like, I don't know about you guys, but when I was growing up, I was always told that like if you don't drink or eat for more than 3 days, you're gonna die. So this was definitely like a crazy experience, but I was desperate, like just, as a reminder, obviously like no normal person would ever want to do this just cause, although there were a couple of people who wanted like a spiritual experience out of it. So I don't know, but for me it was all health related. So I lasted for 7 days, and then I drank just water for like, I don't know, 2 or 3 more days. And then I started slowly like to drink juices and like eating some veggies and stuff. But like, anyway, it was just like such a whole like different experience that I have to like dedicate a separate video to because it's gonna take forever. The point I was trying to make is that it just really made me more open-minded to everything in life, and especially in terms of spirituality, and trying to figure out like, why is this happening to me? Like, is there something that I did? And not to, of course, like not to victim blame, not to be like, oh, you attracted it. Like if you're ill, it's all because like of your negative vibrations into the universe. No, I think that's, well, I would hesitate to say that it's bullshit, but I feel like there's so much more to it than that. It's not just like, well, I guess I'm gonna be sick now, and that's it, and you just all of a sudden become sick. Like, if it worked that easily and flawlessly, we would all be millionaires, okay? Because we would all be like, well, I want to be a millionaire, like, what? You know what I mean? So it's just like, there's so much more to like the law of attraction that like we usually hear about. And I'm not saying that there was, like I didn't contribute to it at all by sometimes like over exaggerating maybe how shitty I feel, but I feel like when you're really sick, like it's really hard to not do that. Like you can't help it sometimes. You're just like, the world is over, like everything sucks, and it's just like, yeah, I mean, I've been there. I totally get it. And that's kind of like bringing me to my next point, which is that it taught me what it's like to be really ill. And I mean, like, to the point where I literally couldn't leave the house. I didn't want to do anything. I got like super depressed. I was suicidal, like I don't think I should be embarrassed to admit it, because that's truly how I felt. And not just like one day, like randomly. No, this was like over the course of like many days. Okay, like weeks and months. And I was just like, every day I was like struggling to find the reason to keep going. And I mean, like, for any one of you who's going through something like this, sorry, it's like a really emotional thing for me still, but I really, really empathize with you, and I just want to send you love and support, and I want you to feel like it's not the end of the world. I know it feels like it, but it's not. It's given to you for a reason, which I know is a cliche, and you're gonna be like, I don't give a shit about this reason, I just wanted to like leave me alone. I know, but at the same time, like, just please focus on believing that it can get better, it will get better, and you're hearing this for a purpose. And it's almost like a sign that you are strong enough to handle this. You are strong enough to handle this. Otherwise you wouldn't be given this crazy like struggle and obstacle and just being left to your own devices. And that's another thing, because I feel like, like in my case, I felt so alone most of the time, and just so like it's really hard to find people that can relate to that. Not only people that are going through the same issue, but even just people who are like really ill and they understand. Like, if you don't want to go out today, if you get annoyed that like somebody invites you to dinner for the 50th time, even though they know that you can't fucking go, like it's just, and like from one point of view, you can be like, well, they're just being nice, they want to be considerate. Yes, but at the same time, I'm talking about like what I've gone through like with my friends, because I feel like maybe I don't know if I didn't make it clear enough. Like, I really tried. I thought I did, but it was really hard for them to like understand and relate and kind of just let me go through my own shit and like be just do me, like, because they were expecting me to be my old self, like, like hanging out and just like going out and whatever. But it just, this disease kind of like made me stop, like reevaluate everything, and change a lot of things in my life, obviously. So, and that's another thing actually that it's taught me, like, who are my friends, how much they care about me, how do they feel about ill people, which is kind of like a weird thing to say, but I feel like there's many people who they just really don't understand what it's like to be ill, and maybe that's why they're kind of like afraid of it in a way, and so they just try to like avoid it altogether, or like pretend like it's not really happening, which I can totally understand, especially if it's somebody like really close to you and somebody that you love, and you just want to pretend like nothing bad is really happening, like, of course you want to help them, you want to make it better, but you don't want to make it like too serious, right? Like, you just want to be like, it's okay, it's gonna pass, like blah blah. So yeah, so that's really taught me like, wow, it also kind of taught me to stand my truth, because it's not only that I had like a reason to say like, oh, I can't go out, like, because I'm gonna like probably shit myself 50 times before I do, and it also taught me how to be like, I guess, like comfortable enough to share this with people, to be like, hey, like, I'm sorry if you're uncomfortable with that, but that's what's happening to me right now. Like, this is real, and there's just like, we have to somehow deal with this. Okay, like, there's no other way than for me to tell you about it. So, like, all of those things, I feel like they really made me stronger, and that's my next point, because it truthfully did, like, this whole crazy experience, it evolved into something that's making me stronger mentally, physically, and just something that's actually like helped change me for the better, which is awesome. I feel like, like it better have, helped me like change for the better, because it was just such a crazy, like, I've gone through so much shit, like figuratively and literally speaking, that like, if there was no payoff, I would have been like, well, that's fucked up, like, pardon my French. I knew I was gonna cuss at some point. I just knew it. But I hope that doesn't offend anybody. Yeah, so like, I guess the payoff is that now I'm definitely like so much clearer and stronger, and I understand, like, I'm closer to living my purpose in life, which is like, I really want to help other people get better, whether it's, physically or mentally, emotionally, whatever. Like, I just want them to know that it can get better. I want to give them hope. So it just opened up a lot of like different things to me that I don't think I would have otherwise considered, just because if everything is going well in your life, chances are you're probably not going to do a lot of like spiritual growth, let's say. Okay, like I don't know, maybe you, like if you're a monk and you're like meditating 50 times a day, maybe you don't really need those like crazy lessons, but I'm not one of those people. So apparently, like, you have to like learn the hard way, at least in my case. But again, at least you learn something, right? It's not all for nothing. It's actually like making you more aware, making you think critically more, and just develop yourself, at least spiritually, maybe even like physically, because I started paying a lot more attention to what I eat, how I eat, like what people do I surround myself with, like what shows I watch, like the emotions that I feel. It's everything. It's very holistic. This is why it's kind of hard to say like, oh, just like take the supplement, because I know it's really hard to get into this game. Like when you first start out and you're like, okay, what's the pill? Like, what's the pill? What do I need to take? Tell me like what to take, because we've been conditioned to believe that when you're ill, just take whatever and you're going to get better. Okay. But I'm sorry, like it doesn't freaking work that way, at least not most of the time. And usually if it does work, then something else suffers, like your liver or whatever. Like it's just, there's always like side effects. There's always something, like it can't be a forever solution, just taking a drug. Although like for a lot of people, they have no other choice, which I totally understand as well. It just really depends. I'm not speaking for everybody, like definitely not. So what else? Patience and perseverance. I think I've mentioned that too. Like a lot of patience. You have to be like really just kind of like come in terms with the fact that this is gonna probably take a while, and you have to, there's still a few things that you have to go through and learn before getting better, which I know it sucks, but at the same time, I guess for most people that's the only way to grow and evolve. At least it was for me, and that's why I think like that's probably the case for most people as well. So, and finally, it did make me appreciate like literally just being able to eat. Okay? Like I know it sounds very basic, but it's really not. Like when you think about it, it just made me like not take the simple things for granted anymore. And just even having a day without running to the bathroom like 30, 40 times, and actually being able to come outside, to enjoy the sunshine, to like see my friends or my loved ones. It's such a privilege. It's such an honor. I feel like, and I mean, most people understand it like somewhere in the back of their minds, but it's not until you go through something really fucked up and shitty that you really like, all of a sudden it like dawns on you, you're like, oh my God, like, I didn't even realize like how cool that is that I could do this, like I could go outside and just go for a jog. I don't know, like have fun, like go to the store. It doesn't matter, like go watch a movie and just enjoy the movie. Like don't worry about like running to the bathroom 50 times. Eat your food, like go to dinner, just enjoy this food without being so like deathly afraid of it every single time. And just being like, well, I guess there it goes, like I'm just gonna take a couple of bites and there we go again. Like it really, really, really makes you appreciate the little things in life, which are not so little. Because as my like grandma always used to say, it's, life basically consists of those little things. You know what I mean? Like we think of them as little, but they're really not. That is life for the most part. Yes, there are some like amazing and crazy and big things that happen, but overall it's just like day to day small little things that make your life. And it makes a big difference to be able to appreciate them. And so I actually, for those of you who are really struggling and find it like really hard to be grateful, I encourage you to do this little exercise. Well, it's not so little, I guess, but well, it depends. Basically, this exercise, which I loved personally doing every single day, at the end of the day, just write down or like type up whatever, like 3 to 5 things Like, well, the more the better, obviously, but at least three, okay? Hopefully five. Things that you're grateful for today. Okay, so like, and it can be like something so basic that you don't even like usually notice. Like, again, like to me, just having a lot of sunshine, like I love that. I love that. I love the sun. I love the fact that I live in such a sunny state. I live in Colorado. And to me, like that's something to be grateful for, you know? So whatever it is, or maybe like, I don't know, somebody did something nice for you, like a random act of kindness or whatever. Just whatever happens, find something in this day that you are grateful for. And do this every day for like, I mean, the longer the better, obviously. Like, it's really great when it becomes a habit and you're just, because what happens after a while is that you start seeking out those things. You don't just like notice them towards the end of the day and you're like, well, I guess that was cool. You know, you actually start actively like seeking them out during the day and you're like, oh, this is so cool. Like, I'm gonna totally write this down tonight. So I would suggest at least doing it for like a month, like maybe 3 months. And it's just such a helpful way to kind of like gradually become more and more grateful for all the things that you have in your life. Because we really do have a lot of things. Like, even the fact that you're watching this video right now, like on YouTube, that's amazing. You know what I mean? Like, that means you have some electricity, I'm assuming. Okay, you have a computer of some kind, or a phone, or whatever, like some kind of an electronic device where you can watch this video. You can hear, you know, you can probably see. And it's just like all of those things that we seriously don't appreciate enough, I feel like. And once we do start to appreciate them more, you start noticing that like more things come your way. And that's more along the lines of the law of attraction, where like you kind of create the space for more things to come your way. And you do this by emitting this positive vibration and like inviting it into your life and attracting it. So, okay, well, again, I've talked like forever, even though I was gonna make this into like, maybe like, like, I was hoping to make a video that's like less than 10 minutes, but obviously not happening. But if you've listened to this whole video, thank you so much. I really appreciate it, because I know that nowadays people's attention spans are like this. So it means a lot to me, thank you. And I hope that it's helpful to somebody and just kind of like gives you hope that it doesn't have to be like the spiral going down. You know, it's gonna get better eventually. You just have to, like, seriously, you have to keep faith. You have to keep trying your best. You have to believe that you're gonna heal. You have to truly want to heal. Like, and I know it's obvious, you know, it sounds obvious, but I feel like at some point when you are like really sick, you just lose that gusto. You're just kind of like, well, I don't even give a damn anymore, like what's gonna happen to me. And I encourage you to like get out of that thinking, because if you are here, the world needs you for some reason. And maybe you are already fulfilling that purpose, or maybe you're on your path towards doing that, but it is a privilege to be here. And I know it doesn't feel like that like most of the time probably, but it is, you know. Just keep like remembering that there are so many amazing things in your life still, even though you are going through some serious shit probably. So I'm sending you love and positive energy, positive vibrations, and I hope it's gonna get better for you as it did for me, you know, like over time, because I started to just pay more attention about, you know, like all the things in my life that are either helping me grow or like hurting me in some ways. And I hope you do the same. I hope it's kind of like a push for you to do whatever you can just to develop, like spiritually, emotionally, physically, in whatever way you feel like you should be, like you need this growth. Okay. Anyways, I guess I'm gonna run now. Hopefully this is not too long. It's long. I know it's definitely long. Anyways, you guys have an amazing day, night, whatever is going on for you right now. And if you have any questions or comments, preferably like nice comments would be nice. Not like shitty, like trolling comments, if at all possible. I would love to hear them, you know, under this video. and hopefully answer your questions if you have any for me. Anyways, have an amazing, again, day or night. Love you all. Bye.